For a long time, monogamous relationships never felt quite right because of the really specific pressure of trying to be everything to one person and vice versa. I think the first time I practiced it in a real-bodied and tangible way was when I started dating a couple, and it opened up what the conversation around how to love more than one person at one time, how the challenges around it force the individuals to grow communication-wise and trust-wise. And I learned that it worked a lot better for me. Classic, jealousy, keeping and respecting boundaries and parameters that can enable everyone to feel safe and respected and uphold the importance of a relationship between them. And obviously you're going against so many traditional ideas about how a relationship should work, and it's structured around the binary of two people kind of together and in contradiction. It's kind of starting from scratch in a lot of ways. It can look so different for everyone, depending on if you date 6 people or if you're married and you have a side piece.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I met and had a really fantastic time with one person who was married, and they had a child, and I didn't think it was going to go anywhere serious as a relationship, but that it would kind of remain in this kind of sexy fun time thing, and that it would have an end point. They introduced me to their wife with the intention of sexy fun times, and it we just didn't stop. We just didn't let go. So it became a relationship with the two of them. I would never be able to go back to monogamy the way a lot of people operate within it. The ways in which it is appropriate to respond to frustration, the way people fight or conceal their feelings. I watched my own parents hold a lot of emotion back from each other instead of letting it be voice concern and kind of taking it upon themselves to just handle things the best they could instead of coming together to communicate and come up with better solutions. I think I couldn't go back to a relationship that operated without that without the transparency that I think a lot of polyamorous people are take on. They take on the work of being transparent. It can be scary that your partner's other partners have traits and things they can give someone you love that you can't.
It's kind of a good thing if they have a thing that you don't have. If it was monogamous, then your partner just wouldn't get that thing, right? So if you're really empathetic,
totally, and
then you're well, this is great. They're not frustrated, and I don't have to do that thing I don't like to do or pretend that I'm good at or whatever.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I understand now that jealousy is an indicator. We've talked about this. It's an indicator emotion, and it says when you've experienced jealousy, it's almost more you value someone else's time and energy. It says I value that. I value time with that person, and I want to know that they value that time with me. You want to feel validated.
So yeah, you almost have to compensate for having other partners by being extra nice.
Or just for me, it was learning how to be nice, or learning how to be affectionate.
Okay.
Before I just didn't do it, or I didn't emphasize understanding how partners wanted affection or
right. Everyone's different.
But I think because polyamory demanded upholding the importance of people in my life, I learned how to use language and actions to how to say I care, versus just saying like, you know, monogamy, you're just like in the relationship. That's the indicator. I thought a lot about this actually, like how much better dating is within polyamory. Like I find it much healthier to, it takes a lot of weight off. It takes the pressure off of like you know, is this gonna like go anywhere? Because I feel like being poly, I'm just like more receptive to the possibility of new things. I'm not as disappointed whenever they don't like pan out. I think I'm operating just like with a much different expectation. But I also think that it's really hard for young people who haven't like had a lot of relationships and are maybe still really informed by traditional looking relationships. I can't imagine being like 22 and trying to do polyamory. I just don't think your like brains don't go.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
And you've just started doing poly like when?
Like a year or two ago. I think before like polyamory, it was more like how open relationships. I was attracted to how open relationships worked, and to me, like, I was really interested in having a partner, and we would maybe go on dates and have dalliances with other people, but always returning to like one thing. And polyamory is more intentional and ethical relationships with several people that could. So
you're saying that open relationship is like the gateway drug to true polyamory?
For me, yeah.
For you, okay.
I think I was understanding for a long time that there were certain things it sounds shitty, but like I was bored about in a monogamous relationship. Like I found like one partner to be like really hard. And it wasn't that they weren't, you know, that those people weren't like fantastic people or like interesting and vibrant people, but they were just one person. Right, like I think, I don't know, I felt like I was shutting myself off from the possibility of how many vibrant and other interesting people there were. And there's something like really suffocating about that. It wasn't necessarily like a compromise. I didn't see it as a compromise of my care for my partners. It was just the reality that I wanted to like explore like other people and what other people can offer. And I think I felt I like had a lot of shame about that for a while.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have, I don't know, there wasn't like all this language about it.
Shouldn't you be ashamed of not being satisfied and always wanting more and being so slutty?
Should
and
I?
Yeah.
No. Well, I mean...
Why not?
I shouldn't... Well, I don't have that now, which I think means that I am in relationships with people that are similar and have like the same...
values.
The same values. And I think if we found each other and we're doing things like ethically, we've always just like kind of created like our own system. I have like 2 main partners. I have another person that I see occasionally, like we really love each other, but our communication doesn't operate at like, and our consistency with seeing each other, they live far away.
It's not like one style fits all, like that everyone needs different types of relationship styles and you need to find people that want the same type.
I myself align a lot with solo poly. It means I don't gravitate towards like finding like a primary partner, or I don't have interest in tethering myself to like one primary, or like, I guess I don't like see my relationships hierarchical. I generally operate pretty independently, and I think that's probably a little bit why monogamous relationships were hard. I felt like I was being asked to compromise a certain amount of independence.
But also you're a player.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think being a player is part of being independent.
Okay.
I think being independent is an extension of confidence. No, I feel comfortable like going out and engaging the dating scene because I don't put a ton of pressure on it. I think when you're lighthearted and comfortable with something, it's like vastly more successful. Oh, that's a good question. I think I learned them as they are happening. Recently, I've observed that I need to keep my partners informed of dates I go on, simply for peace of mind. It should go without saying, I always inform if I've had a new sexual partner. Ways to affirm that my partners are important to me. I think this is especially significant because I operate more solo poly. It's hard for people to understand where they fit into my life unless I articulate it.
So like you like to be alone a lot, but you need to tell them that they're important, because that might seem like they're not if you're not spending a lot of time.
No, totally. That's a perfect way to put it. And it's not like this is my primary partner and this is my girlfriend. Like they share titles. It's the same title and one isn't more important than the other.
I mean, they can't really be equal.
But who's to say if it's not equal? That's impossible to answer. They provide like such different like things. Like, well, I don't see Robin very often. Robin lives on the West Coast, but Robin gives me really present like daily communication. Yeah, she gives me a lot of like emotional like presence. But Lindsay, who's my local sweetie, is able to give me a lot of like physical like the face-to-face. Like,
so like maybe long distance is like a really strong reason that people do poly.
I think it's definitely an argument. Yeah, I think I could have gone years in monogamous relationships and never thought about the things that I've had to kind of look inside to figure out, kind of identify the way I was reacting emotionally to things and like what that meant, and how that translated into a need or a demand or like a way I needed to like grow myself.
Here we have the timeline of Bethany's relationships, where squares are males and circles are females. Early on, she dated both, but soon it became just women. Relationships included here are 2 months or longer. She dated Joey for 2 years and they lived together in the orange. And then recently, in the past couple of years, she's become poly and continues to be today with multiple relationships.